Hey, and welcome to The Solid Verbal. Now would be a perfect time to consider subscribing. Yeah, that little subscribe button for year-round premium college football content. That's it. Here's the video. Enjoy. Subscribe.
Welcome back to The Solid Verbal, boys and girls. My name is Ty Hildenbrandt. That fine gentleman over there, the one, the only, still the incomparable Dan Rubenstein, sir. How was your cold bath this morning? Is that a thing that you did?
It was good. I heard, so I've been hearing for a long time so much, and I have friends who are believers in I guess it's like a Scandinavian thing, right?
Yeah.
Where you,
Sure.
the cold plunge. I have no idea if I'm going to do this with any regularity, but I have a good amount of energy this morning, and I'm very excited to eventually get into the show topic at hand, which is running through the bowls situations from across the country. So I think my energy level is good. We do have a lot of news stuff to get to, some pretty awful and sad, and some, pretty happy. So that's, such is life. But Ty, always a joy to be here with you.
Yeah, we will do our best here to balance it all out. We do have some heavy stuff to get into. We will do that momentarily. This episode, all of our episodes, driven by our good friends over at Geico. In addition to that, the only other bit of housekeeping here at the very top, you may have seen our emails, you may have seen our social media postings, you may have heard us talking about it at great length here on the podcast. SolidVerbalLive.com. We are going to be in LA in about a month's time now, a little under a month from now, at the Troubadour, 7:30 Pacific time, of course, at the historic Troubadour, which we're very excited. They're letting us in the door, frankly. It's going to be a great show. As we've said time and again, we don't know when we'll be out on the West Coast again. I mean, you'll be back visiting family, I'm sure. But in terms of us doing a show on the West Coast, it's something we've wanted to do for a good long time now. We had plans to do it before the pandemic. Obviously, that did not work out. We have now got our ducks in a row. We are headed out west the Saturday before the national championship on January the 7th. So come on out. If you can get to LA, if you're already in the LA area, maybe you're coming in for the game. Just saying, if you can get on out there, it's going to be a show for the ages, and we would be super excited and thrilled and honored if you would join us.
Absolutely. Can't wait to see you out there.
All right, Dan, with that being said,
yes,
I'm not going to play the breaking news sound. It would not be appropriate because we got some sad news today in the world of college football. Mike Leach, beloved coach Mike Leach, passed away on Monday evening at the age of 61 after complications related to a heart condition. This news started to circulate, I guess, on Sunday when we started to hear that Coach Leach had suffered from what the university called initially as a, quote, personal health issue at his home in Starkville. He had to be airlifted to the University of Mississippi Medical Center up in Jackson, which is like 120 or so odd miles away. Mm-hmm. News had sort of been hard to come by from that point forward. I think folks wanted to respect the privacy of the family and Coach Leach, but we started to get indications that it was a pretty dire situation. And then just this morning, as we record this on Tuesday, heard the news of Coach Leach passing away.
Yeah.
So, a tragic thing, man. It's sad. We had the opportunity to interview Coach Leach on two separate occasions back in 2011 and 2012. Maybe if I can dig those interviews up, I'll post them.
Yeah.
But just one of those things where you see it, you sit back and you're just kind of in shock for a minute. Thoughts, condolences go out to the Leach family, to the Mississippi State community, to his friends. I even think of guys like Bruce Feldman, with whom Coach Leach spent a ton of time writing that book, Swing Your Sword. Just a lot goes through your mind. This has been truly a titan in some sense in the college football world and really the broader world of sports.
Yeah, and everything you said, and I don't really have a terrible amount of things to add or things to say that others haven't already said better than I can. Only knew him a little bit, was on the show a couple times. We spoke to him a little bit outside of that, but his legacy on the field obviously is an incredible amount of creativity and fun football teams, fun offenses, and the legacy off the field is a tremendous amount of curiosity and eccentricity and quirkiness and, holding a variety of interests. And I'm sure the overwhelming number of people who sort of consumed the Mike Leach experience publicly will know him for that. I'm sure a number of former players of his are absolutely crushed today. And like anybody, sort of complicated, flawed dude, I raise my hand absolutely as well as a complicated, flawed dude. So I'm sure a lot of people have a number of emotions, largely, I'm sure, sorrow about the loss of Mike Leach. But man, it all is, especially given the timing, especially sitting head coach, which is rare in this sport, right? Usually, we mourn somebody and they've been retired for some time, and that's sort of the cycle of life. But you go, I think it was Randy Walker maybe the last sitting head coach? That was summer though. That wasn't mid-season. And so, yeah, this kind of thing, and I'm sure all of us in some way have been touched by untimely deaths, and especially heart disease. It just, boom, it's one day this, one day that. And so it really does speak to the fragility of it all. And, echoing what you said, obviously our thoughts and condolences with everybody touched by Mike Leach and his family and his circle. Just incredibly tragic.
Yep. Heavy stuff.
Yeah.
So sad news. Always hate to lead with sad news, but sometimes you don't have a choice. So again, thoughts and condolences to those who knew Coach Leach and, as you said, were in his circle. This is sad stuff.
Yeah.
There is no easy transition to go to other subjects, but I will attempt to do so because there are things around the world of college football, thankfully, that aren't quite as sad, aren't quite as heavy, that we did not have an opportunity to mention. If I could get to those, if that's okay with you, Dan.
Please do.
Caleb Williams, congratulations. He wins the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah.
Not a great surprise there that he would win. C.J. Stroud, Max Duggan, Stetson Bennett were also in New York, but Caleb Williams was the runaway winner. So congratulations to him. He's got the bowl game coming up against Tulane. Purdue has hired Ryan Walters, the defensive coordinator from Illinois, as its new head guy. They're doing so because Jeff Brom decided to go to Louisville. That became official as well since we last recorded. Stanford has named its coach, Troy Taylor. Troy Taylor was a name who sort of emerged in that search. Now he's going to be the head guy as well. Tim Beck. Going to be the new guy at Coastal. As such, Grayson McCall has decided to throw his name
out
in the transfer portal.
Yeah.
I'm sure that was not at all a coincidence, but Tim Beck going to be taking over Coastal Carolina. And in other coaching news, Navy decided to part ways with Ken Niumatalolo after the season, after the Army-Navy game here about a week ago. So a bunch of news breaking in the coaching ranks there, in addition to Caleb Williams winning the Heisman Trophy, Dan.
That's a lot to digest, the run of news items. So I suppose in some kind of order, the Caleb Williams experience for USC was incredible, and him winning the Heisman, especially who he was pitted against. Like, you want to talk about the Max Duggan experience? Incredible, obviously. C.J. Stroud, some incredible highs, obviously, for the Ohio State offense. Stetson Bennett, extremely consistent, and I am, the engineer on the Stetson Bennett is actually very good train, even if we're all joking about the future car dealerships that will make him a very wealthy
Stetson Bennett
individual.
Chevrolet. Yep.
Yeah. Let me put you, I saw somebody tweeting, and maybe it was Spencer Hall, putting you in a Kia Telluride, which is such a funny, name for a car, a Kia Telluride. Hendon Hooker finishing out the year and having Tennessee, he would have been the presumptive favorite if he remained healthy and not getting shelled by South Carolina, I suppose. But that had little to do with Hendon Hooker. Blake Corum, maybe the same thing. It was a year of very, very good, and the Caleb Williams experience was excellent. Almost the best quarterback in his conference, says this bitter Oregon fan, with Bo Nix finishing as a more efficient thrower and runner. But can't lose games. And Caleb Williams, by and large, won a number of games almost solo. So you tip your cap and you're like, he is the most excellent quarterback and player in college football. Hard to argue with it. Purdue hiring Ryan Walters.
Yeah.
I think it's a good hire.
I think it's a low-key awesome hire.
I think it's
really
a really
like
good
it.
hire.
I really, really like that hire. It's a guy who's familiar with the Big Ten, given his fine work at Illinois. Obviously, the results have been outstanding.
Right.
He hopefully will boost that defense on the Purdue side and can give them some new ideas otherwise. So I like it. I like the move a great amount.
I'm in it. I'm into it. Yeah. He's been around big programs. I like that he is ascending, right? That Purdue is taking a swing on somebody without a ton of experience, and that he is a younger guy. What is he, 36?
Yeah.
But I'm into swings, Ty. You know that. I am a proud swinger, he says.
Settle down.
I'm not a proud swinger. I'm a deeply ashamed swinger. I'm into it. Ty, I am. And I think Purdue is a program that is going to have money to play with. If he's good, they can, I mentioned this in our Discord at verballers.com. They can compete with salary. If he's not good, they have the Big Ten money, that sweet NBC, CBS, whatever cash to buy him out. And so I always appreciate this over a retread. And so I'm into this hire. Troy Taylor, I'm very much into. It's kind of funny that Stanford hires a Cal guy through and through. But Troy Taylor's success as an offensive coordinator at Utah, his recent success at Sacramento State, I went back and watched some tape of a very good Sac State offense. I think it's been needed for Stanford to start over a little bit. And I like that they went outside of the, obviously, Jim Harbaugh, David Shaw tree to sort of start a new thing with Troy Taylor. So I'm into that hire to see what he can do on the West Coast. And I don't know. What else did you mention? Tim Beck? Whatever. Have fun.
Yeah, the Tim Beck thing is just notable. We had to mention it, I think, if only because of the Grayson McCall news that he's thrown his name in the hat. The Ken Niumatalolo firing was, it took a lot by surprise, given what he has accomplished at Navy, but it does feel like things have gone a bit sideways over the last couple of years. So,
did you see the story yesterday about how it all went down? Did you see that on ESPN?
I saw it, but if you'd like to recap it, you'd probably do a better job than me.
So he was essentially fired, he claims, at his locker after losing in double overtime to Army. Final score 2017, I believe.
2017.
The overhit. I think the overhit for the first time in a long time, it seems, in that game. And there were quotes from the AD, there were quotes from Ken Niumatalolo that expectations were made clear, and that's beating Army and going to bowl games. And Navy has been doing less of that recently and winning the Commander-in-Chief's trophy, whereas, I mean, that the strength of that has been with Air Force lately, who finished the season, I think, 9-3 in a good Mountain West conference. So it's I think a tough pill to swallow, given he is the best Navy coach ever, at least in the modern era, and it just didn't seem to be consistently improving. And at a certain point, you reach that breaking moment where you're like, it doesn't seem to be trending in a direction that makes sense, and so there's never a good way to sort of fire somebody. But if those expectations were laid out well in advance and he didn't meet them, I suppose it could not have come as a complete surprise.
Yeah, was not a great season for Navy with 4 wins, 4-8. I think they finished up. But interestingly, beat UCF on the road in Week 12, which was a bit of a head scratcher when it happened. Played Notre Dame tight, played Cincinnati tight enough. Talk about a difficult month of November. And then, of course, they lose the big game against Army in double overtime. So we wish him well. It'll be interesting to see which direction Navy decides to go next. But a bit of a surprise move, I would say.
Yeah, he mentioned some of the restrictions Navy had. Obviously, they were not able to redshirt players, and they didn't bring back players who technically would have had eligibility after the COVID season because of the Navy path to serving in the military after your 4 years at the Naval Academy. So the class schedule was brought up. There were all sorts of different things brought up, and I'm sure all of them, played some sort of part in Navy's downturn. But, if the expectations were not reasonable to Coach Niumatalolo, he could have left. So
could have left. Yep. And he had opportunities, right? Ken Niumatalolo was a name.
He seemed to have opportunities. Looked around. Yeah.
Yeah. There was a minute for Coach Niumatalolo when he was a hot name out there.
Yep.
And so maybe he can get back to that. I don't know. We wish everybody well. But
I think his reputation in the coaching world is extremely strong.
Very strong. Very strong. All right, that's it for news. Shall we get to our bowl zoom through?
I would love to, Ty.
Here's the way this is going to work, Dan. Every year, we do a confidence pool. We have done this for about 15 years running now. Mm-hmm. You can play, if you're listening to this, you can play for free at playwinterwonders.com. Go there, enter your email. We will send you the instructions for how to get in the group. All right? Plain and simple. No strings attached. This is a confidence pool, though.
Explain.
A confidence pool works like this. There are 43 bowl games. If you count the College Football Playoff National Championship on January the 9th, there are 43 games that you have to pick.
Yes.
The way this works is you pick straight winners. You go all the way down. You pick the teams you think are going to win, and then you rank them in order of confidence. 43 points to the winner that you are most confident in. 1 point to the team that you are least confident in. You astutely mentioned on the last show, I think just playing off the first 3 words of confidence,
totally.
C-O-N, that maybe, just maybe, we should make this Con Air themed. So that is what we are doing on today's show, Dan. Throughout the course of the next 40, 45 minutes or so, this is going to be a zoom through. We are going to go quick. We will come back to some of the bigger games in due time to preview individual matchups and schemes and point spreads and things of that ilk. But for now, we are talking confidence, and we are talking all the games on this show.
So correct me if I'm wrong, because it's been a minute since I've seen the movie. The general plot of Con Air is a number of convicts, prisoners being transported.
Correct.
Convicts.
Yes.
Prisoners being escorted via a plane.
Yes.
They overtake the pilots of the plane.
Obviously. Con Air.
And try to use the plane to aid in their escape to freedom.
Correct.
And things go haywire. And their goals go from escaping to surviving and getting loose and figuring out, essentially, this is literally landing the plane.
Yes.
And the treacherous analog that I'm drawing here is nobody knows exactly how to pick bowl games because of opt-outs, because of coaching changes, because of motivation, lack of motivation. You know, all of a sudden you're going to play a bunch of red shirts and younger players to see what you have. And so from a confidence perspective, it's hard to have a ton of confidence, just like it's hard to fly a number of prisoners through the desert, perhaps onto the Las Vegas Strip. So we're going to do our best to figure out on the fly, as we run through these, you said 43 games, I believe, how to land this proverbial confidence
How to
plane.
land the confidence plane. Yeah, and there were some characters, of course, notably Nick Cage, the one true god of the solid verbal. Nick Cage played Cameron Poe. Cameron Poe was the only guy on the plane outside of the undercover U.S. Marshal and maybe the pilots who had any integrity. Cameron Poe was just trying to get home. He was a parolee just trying to get out. He had his struggles, of course, when he came home from serving active duty. That's how he ended up in prison in the first place. But at this point, when we meet the character Cameron Poe he's going home, and he just wants this plane to get up, to land, so that he can go and see his wife and daughter. So in this case, Cameron Poe is the winner with integrity that you can count on. That's Cameron Poe. There's also a great character played by John Malkovich. Cyrus Grissom. You know him as Cyrus the Virus. That's Agent Larkin. That's John Cusack also in the movie.
Of course.
John Cusack sets up Cyrus by saying that he's done it all, Dan. Kidnapping, robbery, murder, and extortion. He also notes that he's been incarcerated since he was 14. That's a lot to do before your age of 14.
That's true.
That's a lot. And I think he did a little bit of that when he was serving his time, but still, that's a lot. Cyrus the Virus in this case is the cold, calculated upset.
Okay.
The cold, calculated killer.
Yeah.
Takes down a team that you
by
wouldn't
any
think would
means
lose.
necessary,
Right, whatever
he
it
says.
That's right. And then last but not least, Billy Bedlam is just that. Billy Bedlam caught his wife with another man and then just lost it. He's pure chaos. That's why they call him Billy Bedlam. We've got games here in front of us that I think are pure chaos. So obviously not all the games are going to rise to any of these levels, but these are just a few of the characters that we're going to interject as we go through this confidence pool.
Love to hear it.
All right. What are your rules for picking teams? I think you rightfully pointed out that when we get to bowl season, a confidence pool is harder than it looks. We're picking straight winners. Usually we're picking against the point spread. We're not doing that here because that's not the way the confidence pool works. We can give those picks out a little bit later. But on today's show, when we're doing the zoom through, when we're talking about all these games, we need to have rules, some guiding precepts when it comes to who we're picking and who we're not. I have a couple that you know that I talk about every year. I modify them a little bit every year. I think I finally got it figured out to go 43-0. Just saying.
Oh, look at you.
Just saying. But I just want to know where you're at here. Are there any rules that you live by with respect to the Winter Wonders Bowl confidence pool?
Okay, so I love picking against the MAC. I just think
the MAC.
As a conference, the defenses put out by MAC teams by and large, if they aren't already exposed by the MAC offenses that they face during the season, they surely will by teams from the American, by this, in the Sun Belt, in the Mountain West, whatever. Right. So I like picking against the MAC. All due respect.
Teams. I'm jotting this down. No MAC
Please
teams
do.
For Dan.
Love some action. I do. Okay. I love some midweek football taking place in Toledo or DeKalb, Illinois, wherever.
Sure.
Buffalo. But I like picking against MAC teams come bowl season confidence pool time. I tend to look at defenses as an indicator of effort. And a lot of bowl to me is motivation and effort. And I think there is something about defenses, especially in the defenses that prevent bigger plays, which is tackling, which is focus, which is adjusting, and also a pass rush, because pass rushes can cover for a lot of deficiencies. And by the end of the season, a lot of people are hurt all over the defense, all over the offense. A lot of people are tired. A lot of people are upset that they're missing the holidays with their family. But if you got a pass rush, you can cover up for all of that. If you can muster,
over it, right? And you paper over it.
If you can muster the energy to, what does our friend Jesse Palmer like to say? Pin your ears back and third in California, whatever. If you got that, if you have that ability to summon that, and just absolutely torch a tackle here and there, I'm into your team in the ability to win a game. So defense, now we have to look at opt-outs. We have to look at coaching changes. That's meaningful. Obviously, deeper teams are going to be in a better position, promising youth, getting on the field, whatever. It's better than having to play a bunch of walk-ons at outside linebacker. So there is context that matters that we're just not going to have for every single team. But by and large, all things being equal, pick against the MAC, roll with the defense, especially if they're a better tackling team and have a better pass rush. I
have two basic rules with a couple parts to the second rule. Those are good rules. Yep. And as is typical here on the show, you went a little bit deeper than I'm about to.
It's okay.
My stuff's big picture. Your stuff is... So we're giving folks a little bit of everything here. Hopefully that can guide their picks. I have talked about this rule for 15 years. The first rule here. It's the old East Coast Elliott rule. I've been preaching at this altar for years now. He sold me on it. I think it's the only way to fly when it comes to confidence pools.
Good reference to the only way to fly with Con Air. It wasn't intentional, but you nailed it.
I am a pro after all. Repeat after me. Load up your confidence points early.
Yep.
Early. ESPN.com, every other site I've ever seen that offers a confidence pool will by default rank the last games with the most points. So the national championship, it'll put 43 points on it. You don't even know who's going to play in that game.
Right.
All right. Typically, those are the ones that people like to load up with the most points because those are the teams that you know and love and root for or root against.
Yeah, they have the biggest fan bases and the biggest platform during the year. Yeah.
And so a lot of people, not just the default setting by any of these websites, but a lot of people, when they're picking these pools, they put the most points on those games. I am saying flip the script.
Love it.
Flip the script. Those late games are often the hardest to predict, and you get, I think, bigger mismatches in your matchups early. So use that to your advantage. Flip the script, load up on your confidence points early, put more points on those early games. Now, in the
There's
past,
also, by the way, just if I can jump on top of that, Ty, really quick, those early games that you're referencing, this market inefficiency, I suppose is the correct term, right? A lot of them feature a lot of duct tape bowl teams who are they got there beating the 130th, the 126th, the 119th, your Akrons, all due respect to Akron, your Nevadas, whatever, that they're beating a number of teams to get bowl eligible, which, by the way, winning is better than losing. Get bowl eligible. That's great. That's an accomplishment. But also, if they don't have a win over the 73rd best team or the 48th best team or the 91st best team via whatever metric you would like to choose, I know we look at SP+, that's a nice little indicator in that early going, it's not Gildan New Mexico Bowl anymore, but in the New Mexico Bowl, in the Independence Bowl, whatever, take a look at who they actually beat to get bowl eligible. And there's a lot of those duct tape matchups.
A lot of duct tape matchups. My final point on this, and then I'll move on to rule 2.
Please.
The rule for me used to be, I'd tell everybody, sight unseen, whatever the first 5 to 10 games are, just sight unseen, pick who you think is going to win, and then put the most points on those games. Be a little bit more discriminate, okay? Just pick and choose. I would say your first 4 or 5 games, the ones with the most points should be in the first week of bowl season. Doesn't have to be the first day, like I've said in the past, because there are a couple here as I'll go through that I had a hard time with. But first week is where you want to, I think, load up on your points. Don't save it all for the end. Okay?
Yep. I also continue.
Second rule, and you alluded to this, you want to pick the teams that care.
Yeah.
And this has always been the key to confidence pools, to bowl pools, really.
Or you think care.
Right, yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, coaches who leave prior to bowl games have always played a factor. We've always had to consider that. But there are more variables now, and you mentioned it. You've got the opt-outs. You've got transfers. It is not easy. It is harder than ever to figure out truly which teams give a damn. Mm-hmm. And so I have my own little process here that I've invented to consider which teams care, to figure out which teams care by considering a couple different factors. First off, if a team played like crap down the stretch, don't pick them. Mm-hmm. So like Oklahoma State. I'm not picking Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State's playing Wisconsin. Wisconsin has also not had a great season, obviously fired its coach. But Oklahoma State has looked terrible. Their quarterback is also transferring, which I can talk about here in a little bit.
Yeah.
They were one of the pack it up, pack it in teams. Don't pick Oklahoma State. So first and foremost, if you come across a team that played poorly down the stretch, don't pick them.
Great.
Secondly, maybe a team didn't play like crap, but if they're about to be decimated with injuries, with opt-outs, with transfers, that means a lot of new faces. Like you said, you got red shirts starting all of a sudden, getting snaps. A lot can go wrong in that scenario, Dan. So maybe don't pick that team, right? Texas is a good example. Texas is losing Bijan Robinson and Roschon Johnson, in addition to DeMarvion Overshone from the defense. Meanwhile, you've got Washington and Michael Penix Jr., who could have left but didn't, and on top of it said, I'm playing the bowl game. All right?
Correct.
Good indication. Maybe you should take Washington. I'm going to be taking Washington.
Galvanizes the locker room, right? Penix coming back. You know, you have this surprise first year winning. They went 10-2, right? Washington?
10-2. I don't have the sound, but yeah, 10 a good season by any stretch for Kalen DeBoer.
Absolutely. Next.
And then the third and final factor, again, consider them in this very specific order. Mm-hmm. If a team lost its coach, consider picking against them. Now, I used to say pick against them sight unseen. I have backed off that because I don't think it means as much as I've thought in the past. I think it's less important than the last month of the season. Let's look at the last month of the season. Let's see who cares and who doesn't. But also you have to consider if a team's lost its coach. We have seen teams do just fine with an interim. And that's why I think I tend to look at this last. So like the Cincy-Louisville game is very interesting to me on a number of different levels. It's ridiculous because both teams lost coaches, but Louisville is getting crushed in addition with opt-outs, with transfers and all that. So I'm going to probably pick Cincinnati. But consider the coach thing just not as much as maybe I have in years past.
Do you know what I just did for you, Ty?
Please.
I came up with an acronym for your system.
Oh?
It's the CARE acronym. C period A period R period E. Because that's your system, right? It's who cares, right? Who is the one caring the most?
Yeah.
C for crap, Don't pick them.
Don't pick them. Don't pick crap.
Don't pick crap. A, about to be a new team decimated by opt-outs, injuries, and coach losses. R, real scary picking interim coaches.
Yeah.
And E, for end of year finish.
Yeah.
That's pretty good, right?
You went a little bit out of order, but you got all the main components.
I literally went in the order that you went in.
Oh, okay.
I just was typing as you were talking. I was a stenographer
You're
for
very
your
good at
completely
this.
made up system.
You're very good at this.
Yeah. Crap. Don't
So
pick
that
'em.
is my rule. The care rubric, if you will,
Yeah.
is how I go about determining this, and I tried to apply it as best I could. I'm sure I missed a few, but Dan and I have picked all of our games.
Yes.
We have put the confidence points on each, and we are going to do a zoom through. We're going to try and highlight players that have opted out, coaches that have left, key injuries, things that you need to know. This is a developing story in that there will be names that decide to opt out after we record this, but we're doing this about as close to December the 16th as we can, giving you all a chance to listen to this, hopefully to guide your picks in some way, shape, or form.
Correct.
Shall we dive in?
Let's do it.
We're going to go quick.
Let's zoom.
The Hometown Lenders Bahamas Bowl is the first one. They play it on Friday, December the 16th, 11:30 a.m. It's an early spot on ESPN. It's Miami, Ohio. It is UAB. UAB is favored by 11 points for Miami. Interesting scenario here. This is Miami, Ohio, by the way, just for those of you playing along at home wondering, Miami, what bowl game are they? It's the other one up north. Brett Gabbert, he entered the portal and then opted to return. So I don't know if he's playing, but he's back. He's not going to go in the portal after all. UAB favored by 11. I am all in on UAB here. I think they're the better team. And true to form, I am putting all of my points, not all of my points, but the most amount of points allowable, 43 points on UAB right out of the chute.
You think Trent Dilfer's going? You think he's going to be in the Bahamas?
I mean, probably there will be a booth shot with him wearing some sort of Hawaiian shirt.
Do you have in your notes how the cloud of FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried hanging over the Bahamas is going to affect the outcome of this game?
Is that in your notes now? He's flying on Con Air over to the States,
That's
man.
True. That's
He's on
absolutely
Con.
true.
He's like on the front seat there.
I have UAB because I like picking against MAC teams.
Right. Okay. So we agree.
We agree.
Also on Friday the 16th, the Duluth Trading Cure Bowl between UTSA and Troy. Troy favored by about 1 point. They play this one in Orlando at 3 p.m. again on Friday the 16th. Troy favored by 1 point, Dan.
Mm-hmm.
This was one of those early games that I was not confident in at all. I really like UTSA. I also really like Troy and the defense, but I tend to have more confidence in a guy like Big Frank Harris and UTSA and where they've been over the last 2 years or so. So I've got 8 points on UTSA.
I haven't given us specific numbers for all of these games, but I am taking Troy. I'm going with the defense here. UTSA just loses their offensive coordinator, so that falls under your care rubric, Will Stein to Oregon. And so I'm rolling with the defense. I don't really count on the Troy offense all that much, but here's what Troy does. Trojans win games, and UTSA obviously as well. But yeah, I'm going with my rubric here and rolling with the D.
Saturday, December the 17th, the Wasabi Fenway Bowl. You a fan of Wasabi?
I think this is a company named Wasabi, not sponsored by the spicy root.
It is not sponsored by the Japanese horseradish, no.
Right.
But this Wasabi is a cloud storage company, for those of you wondering. This game is between Cincinnati and Louisville. They play it in Fenway Park, 11 a.m., Saturday, December the 17th. A couple things of note. Cincinnati lost Luke Fickell. He went to Wisconsin. Also, they've got a tight end and Trey Tucker, who also opted out, so they won't be playing. But on the Louisville side, and this is what I alluded to earlier, they lose Scott Satterfield, who's going to Cincinnati. Not awkward at all, I'm sure. Malik Cunningham, opt out. Kaytrell Clark, the cornerback, entered the draft. He is opted out. Tyon Evans and Tyler Hudson, running back, receiver, also not expected to play for the Cardinals. So I understand why this is a pick'em, but I'm going Cincinnati here. 9 confidence points. 9 confidence points. Not overly confident here, but I feel pretty good about Cincinnati.
Yeah, I'm going Cincinnati here as well. Both defense. I know they're down their quarterback as well to injury, their starting quarterback, but I'm going with defense here. I think this is more of a care rubric thing.
Yeah.
That the number of players that Louisville is missing, obviously losing their head coach. I'm going with Cincinnati. Even though they lost their head coach, I still think there's a little more seasoning there on defense. So yeah, give me the Bearcats.
The Cricket Celebration Bowl between Jackson State and North Carolina Central. They play this one at noon, Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. This one got me last year, if memory serves. I remember going, I think, all in on Jackson State, and they lost in the bowl game. So now we've got a scenario in which Deion Sanders has left. Where's Jackson State at, Dan?
I have no idea. They probably have lost some players that are following Deion Sanders. I assume Travis Hunter's going to follow him. Obviously, Deion Sanders' son. Deion Sanders already said, yeah, he's your new starting quarterback, but he's going to have to earn it. So I can't imagine things are great in Jackson for Jackson State right now. So I went back and forth. I'm going NC Central. Why not?
Are you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Why not?
I'm going Jackson State 41 points.
Okay.
I think they're the better team.
Who's playing? Who knows?
The SRS Distribution Las Vegas Bowl. You got all that? It's a mouthful.
Yes, I do.
Florida against Oregon State. Oregon State favored by 10. They play it in Vegas, hence the name, the Las Vegas Bowl. 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ABC. SRS, for those of you wondering, the fastest growing distributor of building products in the United States. I didn't know that.
Oh, good to know.
I love what these companies write about themselves on their website. We can talk about that a little bit later on. Trust me. Some notables here on the Florida side. Anthony Richardson, gone. Going pro, opted out. Jack Miller III getting his first start for the Gators at quarterback.
The Ohio State transfer, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. Osiris Torrance and Ventrell Miller, two big guns, right? Osiris Torrance on the offensive line, Ventrell Miller on defense. They have declared for the draft. They're not playing. Justin Shorter, receiver, has declared and opted out. Gervin Dexter, the big defensive lineman, has declared for the draft, but it's going to play.
Oh, good.
He's going to play. And on the Oregon State side, you've got Damian Martinez, who is returning from injury and expected to play. But no opt-outs.
Young running back,
At least not at time of recording. No coaching movement, nothing like that. Oregon State favored by 10. I'm all in on Oregon State here. I'm all in on Oregon State, 37 points for the Beavs.
I am completely in on Oregon State as well. I think the defensive advantage that they're ascending in Florida doesn't fit your care rubric all that well because of the opt-outs, because of the motivation to be there. I think, and here's a nice tie-in term, Ty. You just talked about Tyon Evans, but here's a tie-in with building services, supplies, whatever. You say SRS?
Yeah.
I think Oregon State, and this is a tie-in to the Beavers as well, I think they're laying the lumber here, Ty.
Yeah.
I think they're going to lay the lumber on the Gators in Vegas. Yeah, I'm going with the Beavs. I'm a Beaver believer in this context.
The Jimmy Kimmel LA Bowl presented by Stifel. Stifel, S-T-I-F-E-L.
Okay.
It's a global wealth management and investment company. Kind of a letdown with a name like Stifel.
Yeah, that's true.
Bit of a letdown. We got Washington State. We got Fresno State. Fresno favored by 3 points. Here they play this one in SoFi Stadium, 3:30 p.m. Eastern Time, again, Saturday the 17th. Wazoo lost their defensive coordinator to ASU, Brian Ward, and wide receivers Donovan Ollie, DeJean Striblin, Travion Brown, Francisco Maui Goa. I probably botched that.
That's okay.
Guys entering the portal. Also, Dayan Henley, their first team all Pac-12 linebacker, and Renard Bell won't play in this game. Fresno will be down Cale Sanders, who entered the portal, the defensive back, but otherwise intact, played well, won the Mountain West down the stretch. They are favored by 3. I'm not overly confident in this one, but I do like Fresno here. I got 14 confidence points.
I like Fresno a medium amount as well. Just because of what's returning on that offense. I don't love the Fresno defense, but the fact that they finish strong, so there's the E in your care, end of year. They finish strong. They win the Mountain West. I'm good with Fresno here. If they were playing straight up in the middle of the year, I'd probably take Wazoo, but given the losses, especially Brian Ward, I think, and also the element of Fresno having players looking to pop one last time on a bigger stage than normal ahead of the draft.
Yes.
I'm with the Dogs here.
Lending Tree Bowl, Rice versus Southern Miss. Southern Miss favored by 6.5 points. They play this one in Mobile at Whitney Stadium, in the evening on, again, December the 17th. Rice, waiting to hear what the status will be of Luke McCaffrey, who's still playing and is a receiver for Rice.
It's true.
Missed the last 2 games of the season, so we'll find out more on him as we get a little bit closer. Also, a bit of uncertainty about who's playing quarterback for the Owls, with Wiley Green and TJ McMahon uncertain for the bowl game. I don't have a huge opinion here one way or the other. I do believe, in looking at the numbers, that Southern Miss is the better team. They're favored by a touchdown. Let's go Southern Miss, 40 confidence points.
Yeah, I'm going Southern Miss, a really good pass rush, and so I'm going with the defense, the Rice uncertainty. Shouldn't gloss over the fact that Rice doesn't make bowl games, and they made a bowl game. So that is very, very cool.
Oh,
so
course.
In terms of motivation and excitement, it seems like it lies with the Owls, but I'm going with the defense and Southern Miss here.
The New Mexico Bowl that I don't believe is sponsored by Gildan anymore.
Ah, too bad.
SMU, a 1.5 point favorite against BYU. The battle of the acronyms here at University Stadium at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. SMU will be without Rashee Rice.
I saw
their
that.
Big name wideout who is not going to play due to a toe injury, but he had 1,300 yards, 10 touchdowns. He's a big deal. Big deal to lose him. On the BYU side, we had Jaron Hall, who got hurt at the end of the regular season. He's expected to play in this one. It's important to note that his backup, just for depth purposes, Jacob Conover, transferred, I believe, to Arizona State.
Oh, okay.
So if Jaron Hall is nicked up and unable to play, could be a problem here at quarterback for BYU. Also, their linebacker, Keenan Peely, entered the portal. He was their second leading tackler.
Sorry, did you say Key and Peel?
Keenan Peely.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I heard it incorrectly. I'm going BYU here, and I hate that I am. But the Rashee Rice thing scares me. BYU may have the worst pass rush in America just by the underlying numbers, and that's worrisome. But the fact that they struggled the way that they did, basically through the meaty part of their schedule, but regathered themselves, which is pretty rare, to win like they did near the end of the year. They beat Boise, did they not?
Yeah.
I think I'm going BYU here because SMU did not field a great defense themselves this year at times. I'm going BYU here. I'm going with the Cougars here because I think there's a rebuy-in happening right now.
A rebuy. I'm going to go SMU.
Okay.
15 confidence points, not particularly high.
Okay. Fair enough.
Frisco Bowl. You mentioned Boise. Boise State.
I like this.
Boise State's a Cameron Poe team to me. I feel like I can trust them. I feel like I know what I've got on that plane. 10-point favorite in the Frisco Bowl over North Texas. North Texas just lost their coach, which, say what you will. Maybe
they
it's
didn't
not the
lose their
most
coach. They got rid of their coach.
Well, they got rid of their coach. It's going to be a different coach, right?
Yeah.
Seth Luttrell will not be out there at Toyota Stadium in Frisco at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, again, December the 17th. Boise, not sure what the deal is with Stephen Cobbs. He missed the last 2 games due to injury. Maybe he'll be back. Maybe he won't. But even though Boise lost in the Mountain West Championship, they've played really, really well down the stretch. And I just feel like them playing against North Texas, even though the game's in Texas, they've been riding a bit of a hot streak. I feel very confident in the Broncos here. So give me 42 confidence points on Boise.
I'm going Boise big as well for all the reasons you laid out. And the rebuy-in that happened after like the first 3 weeks of the season, even though they lose the Mountain West Championship game, I still think there's enough to like about Boise, and they get the defensive advantage to me as well.
Let's continue the zoom through. Monday, December 19th, Myrtle Beach Bowl, Marshall -10, UConn into a bowl game.
Yes, sir.
That's a good story unto itself. They play this one, Brooks Stadium, Conway, South Carolina. It's Coastal's home stadium, Dan. I'm on Marshall here with 36 confidence points.
I'm on Marshall big as well because of the defense, and I think there's buy-in as well. So I'm going with Marshall here. I think they fit the care more, though UConn, feisty.
I agree.
I'm going to roll with the defense.
The next day, December the 20th, the famous Idaho Potato Bowl, Eastern Michigan versus San Jose State. San Jose State favored by 3.5 points. I didn't really have a lean here, to be perfectly honest with you. They play this one in Boise on the Smurf turf.
Mm-hmm.
I've got 10 confidence points on San Jose State. I feel like I know a little bit more about San Jose State, even though I'm not supremely confident at all. This could go either way to me.
I am going with San Jose State. Maybe a little bit more confident just because I like to pick against the MAC.
Yeah, oh, that's right.
Also, the Hawkins Packout is a very good burger stand in Boise, Idaho.
Yeah?
If you're going to this game. Yeah.
The roofclaim.com Bowl. This is what they say in their website. We handle your roof replacement from start to finish. Something for you as a new homeowner might want to add to your Rolodex.
That's true. You never know. Have you had roofing issues at all?
Not yet. Not yet.
Knock on wood.
I should probably not say this too loudly.
Okay.
I could have done that move where, the roof guys come around after the big storm and offer to replace your room and charge it back to insurance. I didn't do that. I felt guilty about it because my roof seemed okay.
All right.
Everybody around me got a new roof. We didn't.
Damn. Okay.
And I don't think Solid Wife Kate was too happy that I decided to kind of stick to my scruples there. But
all right. Your own personal Cyrus the Virus. Continue.
We've got Liberty. We've got Toledo. Toledo favored by 5 points. They play this one in Boca Raton. Hugh Freeze left for Auburn on the Liberty side. Also, Ahmad Walker and Dre Butler, both on defense, entered the portal. I like Toledo. I like Toledo in the championship game a couple weeks ago when we talked about that. They won that game. They are favored by 5 here. I'm still a little questionable when it comes to Toledo on offense, but I do believe in this team a little bit more than I should. So let's go Rockets. Toledo, 16 confidence points.
Yeah, all of my reasons point to Toledo, except for picking MAC teams. Let's go Liberty here.
Wow, you're really sticking to your guns that much.
I am.
The R&L Carriers New Orleans Bowl, December the 21st. Western Kentucky, South Alabama. South Alabama favored by 7.5 points. They played this one in the Superdome, so it's a nice spot for both these teams. I've said before that this is a matchup that I'm very interested in. I actually meant to play this sound instead. Let's play
It's okay.
One. I think this game could be fun as hell.
Definitely.
I think this game could be fun as hell. So on the Western side, we had Austin Reed, the quarterback, enter the portal. I believe we saw that he might be headed to Louisville, although I haven't seen that confirmed, which means that we're going to have Darius Ocean or Caden Veltkamp.
Good names.
Starting at quarterback. They have a combined 16 passes this year for Western Kentucky. Also Joshua Simon. They've got starting offensive linemen, Ricky Stats and Gunnar Britton, who are transferring as well. So a lot of turnover on the Western side. South Alabama's been pretty good. They play a good branded defense. Both teams are questionable when it comes to offense on some level, at least in terms of the SP+, but I like South Alabama and the defense more than anything in this matchup, and I think they will be motivated. So I've got 38 on the Jags.
It's not right to look at one single data point of a game to make a decision like this when there are so many variables. But Jaguars, South Alabama were like a gust of wind away from beating UCLA, were they not?
Correct.
I'm going South Alabama for defense and for all the changes, ones that you mentioned, Austin Reed here. So yeah, give me the Jaguars to finish with an incredibly impressive season.
Yeah, and to be clear, when I say questionable on offense, Western Kentucky was fine on offense throughout the course of the year, but losing the quarterback,
yes, totally.
That's where the question marks, I think, come into play. So I'm going to go South Alabama. Thursday, 22nd, Armed Forces Bowl, Baylor, Air Force. Play this one at Fort Worth, Amon G. Carter Stadium, where TCU plays. Baylor fired Ron Roberts, defensive coordinator. Also, Devin Neal, safety, is transferring, but they're favored by 6.5 points here. This is a game where I would not want to bet Baylor minus the points because of the way that Air Force plays football. Mm-hmm. They take the air out of the ball. They run the crap out of the ball. I could see this one actually being close, but I do believe Baylor will prevail. I think Baylor is the better team. I just wouldn't want to touch this one with respect to the point spread. So let's go Bears, 17 confidence points.
I kind of love Air Force here. Ooh. Like medium high confidence like Air Force here.
Really?
I think it's a bad matchup for Baylor.
Why?
For the reasons you laid out. I mean, defense and running the ball, I don't like Baylor's defense going up against Air Force on the ground. And the way Baylor has struggled at times to be creative and be downfield this year on offense with Air Force's very specific strengths on defense, I'm going Falcons here. I don't trust Baylor. Do you really trust Baylor to win a game against a good team?
I don't. And the other thing that I would add is that Air Force is pretty good on defense.
No, they're full on good on defense.
Very
and they
good on
lost
defense.
their defensive coordinator before the year, and they continued it. And there's something that's been very consistently good. Now, they're not going to generate the big plays, but they don't try to do that on offense. They have a top 10 SP plus defense. They prevent big plays. They're efficient against regular plays, whatever.
So hold on. Whoa.
They tackle super well.
Is Air Force one of your Cyrus the Virus upset teams?
Absolutely they are. And how do you not roll with a team named Air Force when we're doing a Con Air preview?
That's not a bad
You're going against the
point.
spirit of our game.
I am. I'm going to stick with Baylor. I'm going to stick to my guns and
we
go
disagree.
Baylor here. The Radiance Technologies Independence Bowl, Dan. Website's very vague about what they do. Quote, we provide intelligence analysis and warfighter support to the intelligence community, Department of Defense, and we enable effective military operations to protect our troops from harm.
Okay.
Whatever that means. Very
Logistics.
vague, but yeah, they're involved in some stuff. Let's put it that way.
Absolutely.
It's Louisiana. It's Houston. Houston favored by 6.5 points. Louisiana, they're without their quarterback for most of the season, Ben Wooldridge, who was hurt in mid-November. Chandler Fields, who you may recall was the original starter of the season, he is going to get the nod here. He played the last 2 games. On the Houston side, Nathaniel Dell declared for the draft, but will play anyway.
Yeah.
Whenever you've got that scenario, and there are a couple more here that we're going to talk about, the star players who are going pro, but decide they're playing anyway, that indicates effort, that indicates care.
Belief.
Give me Houston 39 points.
I'm going Houston, maybe not that many, but medium high. Absolutely. I'm going Houston as well.
Union Home Mortgage Gasparilla Bowl. Wake Forest, Missouri. We've got Wake favored by 1 point. They play this one in Tampa. On the Wake side, Christian Turner, the second leading rusher, is transferring. Also, Gavin Holmes, the other Gavin Holmes, defensive back, transferring as well. For Mizzou, they lose Dominic Lovett, who is transferring. Also, 3 key defenders in Isaiah McGuire, DJ Coleman, and Martez Manuel have opted out because they are going pro. So, in terms of teams that care, even though there is turnover on the Mizzou side, Mizzou had to fight and scrape and claw to get into this bowl game at all. They beat Arkansas, I believe, last week of the season in order to get into this thing. So I think it means something to them that they got to this game. Wake Forest petered out a little bit down the stretch. I'm going Mizzou.
I'm going Mizzou as well.
Yeah.
I'm into Brady Cook. I'll say it one more time. I'm into Brady Cook. Mizzou's record was like 14 seconds away from being very different. And so the fact that they finished the season the way that they did against Arkansas, even losing the guys they lost on defense, this was a more havoc-y team than they've been. Yeah. I'm going Mizzou.
All right, we've made it to Christmas Eve. We got to continue this zoom through, baby.
Please.
We got to zoom through. Hawaii Bowl, Middle Tennessee State, San Diego State. San Diego State favored by 7, Dan. Easy Post, the smarter shipping solution for those wondering. I'm on the Aztecs here, 19 confidence points.
I'm on San Diego State as well. Middle Tennessee is a duct tape team, exclusively beating cupcakes.
Quick Lane Bowl on the day after Christmas. New Mexico State, Bowling Green. Bowling Green, the Falcons favored by 2.5 points. Play this one at Ford Field. I don't really have a lean. I'm going with the favorite 11 confidence points. Give me Bowling Green.
Have fun. I pick against the MAC. New Mexico State for me.
Tuesday, December the 27th, Georgia Southern, 3.5 points, the favorite, squaring off against Buffalo. They play this one at the Crampton Bowl in Montgomery, Alabama. Buffalo is going to be without Ron Cook Jr. and Aljay Henderson. Both guys did not play in the regular season finale.
Georgia
Southern for me. Georgia Southern for me.
Give me Clay Helton and Georgia Southern. I pick against MAC teams.
First Responder Bowl, Memphis -7, squaring off against Utah State. They play this game in Dallas. I'm on Memphis, 21 confidence points.
I'm on Memphis as well. Utah State strikes me as a duct tape team. So I'm going Memphis. They don't have huge wins, but they were competitive against the best teams that they faced, and that is not necessarily what you can say about Utah State. So I'm going Memphis here.
Ticket Smarter Birmingham Bowl, Coastal Carolina against East Carolina. The Battle of the Carolinas. We've got the Pirates favored by 10.5 points, Dan. Okay. On the Coastal side, there's been some turnover in case you are unaware.
Yes.
Jamie Chadwell left for Liberty. Their starting center and a first-team all-Sunbelter, and Willie Lampkin is in the portal. Josiah Stewart, Manny Stokes, Zaquan Reeves are all transferring, in addition to now Grayson McCall, who has announced as of yesterday, today is the 13th, that he is also entering the transfer portal. So a lot going on the Coastal side, not a lot of reason to really feel good about them. ECU does have a couple guys in the portal as well, but I feel like in totality, just too much turnover on the Coastal side. Too much bedlam.
Bedlam.
Gonna go East Carolina.
I'm going ECU as well. And
Yeah.
I may have if Grayson McCall was playing, just because the Coastal defense is that bad. So I'm going ECU because I think they should be able to light up the Coastal secondary.
Guaranteed Rate Bowl, Wisconsin -3 against Oklahoma State. I'm 23 points on Wisconsin, despite the fact that there is a lot of turnover. So listen to this thing.
I'm ready.
Wisconsin loses Graham Mertz, which means that Chase Wolf or Miles Burkett is going to get the start at quarterback. They're also going to be without Joe Tippmann, their center, Keanu Benton, their defensive lineman, and Jay Shaw, their cornerback. Nathan Herbig declared for the NFL draft. They've got an interim coach in Jim Leonard who will stay on for the bowl game but won't be retained as the full-time coach. Lot to consider on that side. Meanwhile, Oklahoma State played like crap down the stretch, as we alluded at the top of the show. They also are going to be without Spencer Sanders, who has entered the portal, which means Gunnar Gundy or Garrett Rangel under center. They're going to lose their linebacker Mason Cobb, their running back Dominic Richardson, their end Trace Ford, and their safety Thomas Harper to transfer.
It's a lot, Ty.
Give me Wisconsin, 23 confidence points. Is going to be a terrible game to watch.
I'm going
terrible
with
game.
Wisconsin as well. It just, things don't seem great in Stillwater at the moment.
Military Bowl presented by Peraton. Not Peloton.
I hear you.
Peraton. Here is what their website says about them. Do the can't be done.
Okay.
Do the can't be done.
Yeah. English is optional. I understand.
They drive missions of consequence, spanning the globe and extending to the farthest reaches of the galaxy, Dan.
Can I pick against them? Continue.
It is UCF. It is Duke. Duke's favored by 1, Dan. No notables on the Duke side, though. UCF's going to be without Mikey Keene. They're
I saw that.
For a moment in time, backup / starting quarterback. He entered the portal. Ryan O'Keefe, their top receiver, their top linebacker, Jeremiah Jean-Baptiste, is in the portal, in addition to Devontae Brown. So a couple key contributors on the UCF side are going to be out, and John Rice Plumlee has been dealing with a hammy and a shoulder throughout the last part of the season, so who knows his status. I presume he'll be healthy, but going up against a Duke team that gets to a bowl, had a good 8-4 season, give me the Blue Devils, 24 confidence points.
I'm going with Duke here as well. And by the way, you mentioning Mikey Keene entering the portal is just a reminder to me of how many quarterbacks are in the portal that we're entering this sort of TaskRabbitization of quarterback play. We are like, look, I got a job. You have some abilities. How much is it going to cost us? I don't want to do it. So Mikey Keene, if you want to play quarterback for us, Louisville or Cal Poly, whatever, I'm in on Duke here.
The AutoZone Liberty Bowl. Get in the zone, Dan.
Please.
And let's talk Kansas. Let's talk Arkansas. Arkansas favored by 3. This is a Cyrus game for me.
I like this.
Give me Kansas, 33 confidence points.
What?
I'm going in on the Jayhawks, baby. They care. You know they care. When was Kansas in a bowl game last?
It's
true. It's been so long, I don't even have it here on my sheet. So we know they care. The Arkansas thing, look, the dog's going nuts downstairs.
I hear ya.
Arkansas maybe got itself together down the stretch, okay? But Defensive coordinator Barry Odom leaves for UNLV. Their linebacker, Drew Sanders, who was a first-team All-SECer. Their center, Ricky Stromberg, who was first-team All-SEC, opted out. They're preparing for the NFL draft. Bumper Poole is also out, the linebacker, due to injury. Defensive back Miles Slusher and receivers Jaden Hazelwood, as well as Keytron Jackson, have entered the portal. So there is turnover on offense, there is turnover on defense, and they're playing against a team that undoubtedly cares more about this bowl game. Get in the zone, 33 points. Give me the Jayhawks.
How did Kansas finish the season out?
I'm here to talk about the future.
Well, I'm talking about caring, right? And isn't that the E?
It is the E.
E in caring is end of year finish. They lose 6 of their final 7, though they do beat Oklahoma State 37-16 comfortably. So there's your pick against Oklahoma State there. But yeah, they lose by 15 to Texas Tech. They lose by, quick math here, 41 to Texas and 20 to Kansas State. Obviously away from home, kind of a different team. I'm going with Arkansas because KJ Jefferson is there. I hate it, but I'm going KJ Jefferson.
The Holiday Bowl is your Oregon Ducks. It is North Carolina. Play it at Petco Park, where the pets go. In San Diego, it is an interesting matchup here.
Oh, can't wait.
On a couple different levels. Kenny Dillingham left, the offensive coordinator for Oregon left to go to ASU. Justin Flo, Dante Thornton are transferring on the Oregon side. Christian Gonzalez declared for the NFL and opted out, the cornerback.
Yes.
On
they're,
the UNC,
they're arguably best defensive player, yeah.
Their best defensive player. Neither one of these teams is very good on defense, but I do think the UNC side is more problematic, right? We had Phil Longo left the post of offensive coordinator for Wisconsin. He's taken that job.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Downs has opted out, declared for the draft, their best receiver. We have Keyshawn Silver, Tony Grimes, and Storm Duck. On the defensive side, speaking of good defenders that are entering the portal, they're all gone, not playing.
I don't even know if they're good, but they're the best defensive backs that North Carolina has. Yeah.
Oregon favored by 14, I think, for good measure. They're my Cameron Poe team. I just trust them. I trust Oregon's offense. I trust Dan Lanning here. They're a 14-point favorite, I think, for good reason. 29 confidence points on the Ducks.
So, okay, the only reason to pick against Oregon, or if you are going to pick against Oregon and you believe in North Carolina, you should pick against Oregon. More reasons to pick against Oregon. You've mentioned Christian Gonzalez. I haven't heard anything. I don't know the situation of Noah Sewell. I anticipate he is going to enter the draft. I have no idea if he's going to opt out of this game. Same goes for Brandon Dorless, their best defensive lineman. No clue. They've been decimated, but it's been a lot of backups and rotation guys. Not a lot of star power that's been lost to the portal for Oregon. Is this the best quarterback matchup of bowl season?
It might be. Yeah.
I'm going through. I mean, the other one would be Stetson Bennett and CJ Stroud, I suppose. But in terms of pure excellence at quarterback, Bo Nix's season and the majority of Drake May's season, with no defense, this should be a very, very fun shootout of a game. I'm going with Oregon here because I can at least see how with additional time their defense could get a couple of stops, considering the way that Drake May finished the season sort of up and down fashion as a freshman. So I'm going with Bo Nix, who has already announced that he's playing in this game. So whether or not he's leaving for the draft, yet to be seen at the time we're recording this. But if that's part of your care thing, Oregon did not finish the season in strong fashion, losing to Washington and Oregon State. But Bo Nix deciding to come back and still having the firepower at running back, receiver, and tight end, and obviously offensive line that they do. A healthy Bo Nix is, to me, the best player in this game. So
they may not have finished the season as strongly. However, take a look at UNC. UNC not only is losing a bunch in terms of defenders, what remained of the defense, but also losing the best receiver. And also, we talked about it at length throughout the course of the season, throughout the latter half of the season, throughout November.
Mm-hmm.
Seemed like teams figured out North Carolina.
A little bit.
To some extent. Yeah. So I take your point on Oregon, but it doesn't faze me, especially since I think Carolina's in a worse spot.
There it is.
Texas Bowl. We got Texas Tech. We got Ole Miss. Ole Miss favored by 3.5 points, Dan. I'm on Ole Miss, 26 points.
Look at the way Ole Miss finished the season. Was it not one of our Atlanta Hall of Fame inductees? Lane Kiffin's first 29 quarters. Wasn't a great back half after those 29 quarters. Texas Tech's defense, quietly pretty good. Certainly improved over where they were last year with Tim DeRuyter. I'm going with Tech here.
I don't hate it. It's a Cyrus.
That's my chaos. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit of an upset game.
Yep.
I don't hate it, but I'm going to go Ole Miss. I like them on the ground.
Love it.
All right, Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl. New era's out. Bad Boy Mowers are in. It takes brains. It takes brawn to build a mower as ruggedly simple to operate, easy to maintain, and provide the best value. That's Bad Boy Mowers, Dan. I saw a Bad Boy mower in the wild the other day.
How'd it look?
It looked like every other mower I've ever seen.
Fair enough. I was going to say, you were sort of flowery reading that copy there, but then you brought it back down to earth with saying it was a very average mower. Okay.
For Syracuse, Robert and I left for NC State. For Minnesota, Tanner Morgan missed the last 3 games of the season due to injury. It's unclear if he's going to play in this one.
Okay.
We also have defenders Braylon Oliver and safety Michael Dixon entering the portal. Minnesota favored by 7.5 points. Speaking of finishing the season with a bit of a whimper, there's Syracuse, who started off great, got their qualification to get to a bowl game, and then just sort of like cruised through the remaining 7 weeks of the season. Minnesota, I don't trust in Minnesota at all. However, I trust them in this game. I like their chances here in this game. 25 confidence points.
I think that's right. Syracuse games are fun because you can look at the team Syracuse is playing and ask yourself, can they run the ball with any degree of competence? Yes, I am taking them. And now Syracuse is without Tony White, their defensive coordinator, who I still think is really good. I just don't think they have, a competent defensive front to stop the run. And now they get Mo Ibrahim. So Tony White gone, Syracuse being able to be run on, that combination, give me Minnesota with a good amount of confidence.
Cheez-It Bowl, we got Florida State in this one, right?
Yes.
Oklahoma, Florida State. Another team with integrity that I trust going into bowl season. They're favored by 7.5 points in this Cheez-It Bowl. They played in Orlando. Oklahoma is without starting tackles Anton Henderson, Wanya Morris, Jalen Redmond, and running back Eric Gray. These are names that have opted out to prepare for the draft. Also, Theo Weiss, the receiver, only had 19 catches this year, but it's just of note that he's entering the portal.
He's going to Mizzou. He's committed.
He's going to Mizzou, that's right.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, on the Florida State side, we have Jamie Robinson and Jared Verse, 2 NFL prospects who said, F it, we're playing the Cheez-It Bowl.
Hell yeah.
If that doesn't signify effort and CARE, I don't know what does. Florida State, 30 confidence points.
Cheez-It or Goldfish? Where do you stand?
Goldfish.
I'm a Goldfish guy myself.
Yeah, more Goldfish guy.
I'm a Goldfish guy. I'm going Florida State here. It's another similar question. Can the team run? Yes. They have a very good shot of beating Oklahoma, so I'm going with Trey Benson and the Noles here.
Valero Alamo Bowl, Texas -5.5. Washington, the Huskies coming in there at a mark of 10-2. I am on Washington.
Same.
I alluded to this earlier. I don't have a high degree of confidence. I might bump this up. Right now, just 13 confidence points because Michael Penix is the guy, right? Michael Penix, he didn't have to come back. He is elected to. He didn't have to play. He's going to do so anyway.
Yeah.
So Michael Penix playing Washington, I think, with a lot to play for here. Meanwhile, Texas is going to be without Bijan Robinson, Roshan Johnson, DeMarvion Overshone, all those guys opting out of the Alamo Bowl.
I'm going to go with Washington as well here. I even though I like Texas and the steps they took forward on defense, I think they're going to struggle just sometimes on offense, sometimes on defense. I think Washington's just going to have more juice. That fits under your CARE acronym.
That's right.
So
That's right.
I'm going with UW.
All right. December 30th, we got Duke's Mayo Bowl, Maryland, NC State. NC State is a 1.5 point dog. Listen to this crap, okay?
Okay.
Listen to this freaking game. We've got Maryland, who will be without Jacob Copeland and Dante Demas, the 2 wide receivers. Also, Deontay Banks, the cornerback, declared for the draft and opted out. We've got Ahmad McCullough entering the portal. He had 45 tackles for the Terrapins this season. And then on the NC State side, it's unclear who's playing quarterback.
Yeah. Well, it's not Devin Leary. We know that.
It's not Devin Leary. We know that. But it could be MJ Morris. It could be Ben Finley. We've got starting center Grant Gibson out with injury. Tim Beck, who we mentioned earlier, left his post as offensive coordinator.
Pretty good.
To be the head coach at Coastal. Kurt Roper, remember him? He's going to be calling the plays.
Man, not so good
in this game. So, a bit of a bedlam. A little bit of Billy Bedlam here.
Yeah,
I think I'm on NC
it's total
State.
toss up. Yeah.
Think I'm on NC State, 12 confidence points.
Yeah, I'm still on NC State because the best thing in this game I still think is the front on that defense. So I'm going with NC State here.
Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl. Pitt, they're back in the Sun Bowl.
Of course.
Great things do not happen when Pitt's in the Sun Bowl.
Not
They're
necessarily.
back. UCLA also in the Sun Bowl. Play this one 2 p.m. CBS, Sun Bowl Stadium, Friday, December the 30th. Kalijah Cansey not in this game due to injury. Keaton Slovis transferred. He's in the portal.
Gonzo.
Nick Patty, Nate Yarnell are going to be playing quarterback here against UCLA. I like UCLA a lot in this game.
I like UCLA a good deal. It's the final opportunity for DTR to wow NFL scouts. Zach Charbonnet should be pretty good, even though Pitt's defense is pretty good. I just don't think Pitt's going to be able to consistently move the ball. So I'm going with UCLA here. You said Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl?
Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl, yeah.
Is Frosted Flakes your number one frosted cereal?
Probably Frosted Mini Wheats.
I'm right there with you. I am right there with you.
All right. We agree. Tax Slayer Gator Bowl. Notre Dame -2 squaring off against South Carolina. Michael Mayer, Isaiah Foskey opted out, declared for the draft. Drew Pine transferring. Looks like Tyler Buckner is going to get the nod.
I saw that. He's been practicing, right?
Back from the dead, yeah. So a little bit of Tyler Buckner, a little bit of Steve Angeli, but it will definitely be a different look at quarterback for the Irish. On the South Carolina side, Marcus Satterfield, the offensive coordinator, left for Nebraska, not Cincinnati. Too many coaches moving and shaking. Jaheim Bell, Austin Stogner at tight end have transferred out. Spencer Rattler will play in the bowl game. I'm on Notre Dame here. I like Notre Dame a great deal in this matchup.
Why?
I think this could be a fun game.
Why?
But I think they're better. And despite the fact that South Carolina really finished the season strong, I do think that Buckner coming back in, perhaps with a bit of a different game plan, they might open it up a little bit more because I think he gives them more through the passing game. I just think it might be a different look for Notre Dame. They still can run the ball. The offensive line is still intact. It hurts to not have Michael Mayer, but I'm interested to see if they can utilize some of those downfield weapons and play off of the running game. They should be able to run against South Carolina, which is, I think, probably the biggest reason why I like him here.
Man, South Carolina down both Jaheim Bell and Marshawn Lloyd, who opted out, or not opted out, who is transferring, right?
Right.
So transferring or opting out?
I believe transferring.
Yeah. That's scary. But I also watched Notre Dame's offense the first couple weeks, and that's also scary in its own way. I'm going South Carolina here.
Nah. 31 on Notre Dame.
A Notre Dame offense without its literal only weapon. I like Estime. Is that his name?
Audric Estime.
Yeah, he's good too. But without Michael Mayer, I'm going with South Carolina here. I don't know why. The way that they're playing for Shane Beamer, the way that they played in the bowl last year against North Carolina in that upset, getting Mayo dumped on them, I'm in on South Carolina here. And I'm not fully sure why. I'm just in on them.
The Barstool Sports Arizona Bowl, it's Ohio, it's Wyoming. Get a load of this for Wyoming. Wyoming's a team that likes to run the ball.
Yeah.
They're without Titus Swen and Joey Brash, two running backs who are transferring, so they're super thin there.
Mm-hmm.
Dwayne McNeely and DQ James are going to miss the game due to injury as well at running back. Their leading receiver, Joshua Cobbs, their defensive end, whose name I cannot say,
Okay.
and cornerbacks Keontae Glinton and Cam Stone are all transferring. They are going to be without a lot of key contributors. Ohio, by the way, still going to be without Curtis Rourke, who's out for the season. CJ Harris is going to be the guy. So I'm not going to play the sound again. A lot of bedlam potential here for this game. I think it could be borderline unwatchable, but I'm going to go Bobcats, and I'm going to go 32 confidence points because Wyoming has to deal with all sorts of issues at running back.
I don't care. Ohio's in the MAC. Give me Wyoming and the Cowboys.
That brings us to some of the New Year's Six games.
Yes.
Capital One Orange Bowl, Tennessee, Clemson. Clemson favored by 6.5 points. Play this one, Hard Rock Stadium in Miami Gardens. Unclear if Jalen Hyatt or Cedric Tillman are going to play on the Tennessee side.
Tillman's out. Tillman's not playing.
Tillman is not playing. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Clemson is going to be playing Cade Klubnik because DJU is in the portal. I don't know if that makes them any better or worse, but worth noting. I am on Clemson here. 28 confidence points for me on Clemson. I do not have confidence in a Tennessee team not being led by Hendon Hooker. So while I think Tennessee's been the better team for most of the season, the fact that they have this injury now to their best player on offense is very problematic to me. And I think Clemson will play hard because you've got the new quarterback. You've got guys that I think are going to want to show out. I don't think Clemson feels good about the way the season ended. I'm on Clemson here. I think they've got a lot to play for.
Tennessee, when rolling this year, was my favorite show in college football. When rolling. You look at some of the Kentucky game and the Alabama game without Hendon Hooker and with this defense and the way the season ended. Well, they destroyed Vandy. I understand that. I'm going with Clemson here. I'm going club level and defense.
New Year's Eve, we've got the Trans-Perfect Music City Bowl. This is absolutely a Billy Bedlam game. Absolutely. Listen to this crap. It's Iowa, it's Kentucky. For Iowa, Spencer Petras is hurt. Alex Padilla is transferring, which means the third stringer, Joey Labas, 0 pass attempts.
Okay.
He's going to be your starter. Also, Keegan Johnson, the receiver, transferring. Justin Jacobs, the big linebacker, transferring.
To
Gavin
Oregon,
Williams,
yeah.
another running back, transferring out. On the Kentucky side, they fired their offensive coordinator, Will Levis, and Christopher Rodriguez have both declared for the NFL and have opted out. Do not expect offense in this
Liam
game.
Cohen back, though, right? He's coming back. I don't know if he's coming back for this game, but
Yeah.
he spent some time with the Rams. It was like, I'm going back to college. Yeah.
So I guess Kentucky. I guess I don't. This is going to be a very low scoring game. It's going to be ugly. Hide your eyes. The best thing I can say about this game is thankfully it's while you're drinking and not after the hangover, because that would be really tough to watch on New Year's Day or on January 2nd. But I'm going to say Kentucky, 3 confidence points. No confidence.
I'm going Iowa defense. I'm going Spencer Petras wasn't very good this year. Alex Padilla definitely wasn't very good this year. You mentioned Justin Jacobs transferring. He got hurt like second week of the year. He hasn't played this year, but very good. And Oregon fans, I think, have high hopes for him as somebody entering a linebacking core that needs a lot of help.
Yes.
Just give me the name one more time of the presumed third or fourth stringer, whoever's going to start at quarterback.
Joey Labas. Labas?
I don't know. All I can tell you is somebody across this sport, probably at quarterback, is going to fall under the category of, we had this guy the whole time and he's way better than who we had playing. And for whatever reason, there's something that strikes me about a random Iowa quarterback being pretty decent once in this game. And I'm going with that. I'm going with the Hawkeyes.
The Joey Labas.
Yeah.
Potential for a lobotomy here.
Yeah. I think there's going to be labor. I don't know.
All-State Sugar Bowl. Alabama, a 3-point favorite against K-State. Play this one in the Superdome, New Orleans, noon Eastern, New Year's Eve. Alabama has some names here. Some names that we need to mention. JoJo Earl, Trayshawn Holden. The receivers also Javian Cohen, offensive guard in the portal.
Yeah.
I have not heard word on Bryce Young or Will Anderson. I can't imagine they're playing in this game.
Right.
On the K-State side, Malik Knowles and cornerback Iku Boy-Doe were injured. Did I say that wrong?
I have no idea, but you said it slowly and very specifically.
Yeah, I could have been very quickly. Injured in the Big 12 game, but it looks like they're going to be playing in the bowl game.
Good.
I'm on K-State here.
I'm on K-State too.
2 confidence points. 2 confidence points.
Yeah.
You know, I don't put any confidence points in these games, but
Alabama away from home against a Kansas State team. Is this one of the biggest 3-5 Kansas State games ever in the modern era?
Has to be.
Yeah. A New Year's 6 game against Alabama? Absolutely. Give me K-State here.
Let me know how to say the cornerback's name. I screwed that up, I know.
Yeah,
that's a Globe tomato situation, but
No, you're okay.
my apologies. All right. 2 semifinal games here. We're coming down the stretch. We've only got 6 more games. Let's do it. Semifinal, the Fiesta Bowl. It's Michigan. It's TCU. Again, New Year's Eve, 4 p.m., ESPN. Blake Corum done for the season with a knee injury. But otherwise, anybody who can play will play. It's a semifinal.
Yes, of course.
Michigan favored by 7 points against TCU. So you're picking a winner here. You're not picking against the spread.
Right.
We will obviously break this game down in a little bit more detail as we get closer to it. But are you on Michigan or are you on TCU?
Head says Michigan, heart says TCU. I am going Michigan because of defense, and I don't love J.J. McCarthy in this spot, but I'm still going with Michigan here. And Donovan Edwards being healthier with the defense, with the ability to adjust. We saw it kind of close at halftime against Purdue, and then just second half Michigan is too strong for me.
Yeah. 7 confidence points Michigan for me.
Yep.
I agree. Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, second semifinal. It's Georgia -6.5. It is Ohio State. Second semifinal match, 8 p.m. On the Ohio State side, Jackson Smith and Jigba not going to play. He's done for the year. Also, the injury status is a bit uncertain for Trey Henderson and Mayan Williams on the Ohio State side. Again, if they can play, they will. On the Georgia side, Ladd McConkey got hurt in that SEC title game, as did Warren McClendon, their offensive lineman. So unclear on their status again for the playoff game.
They're also getting healthier at receiver, though, as well. Georgia.
They are getting healthier.
Yeah.
I'm on Georgia here, 6 confidence points.
I'm on Georgia as well. We'll talk about this game more as we get closer to it. But Georgia is not unbeatable. But they're unbeatable if you don't have your act fully together by this point of the season. And I don't believe Ohio State to be a team, given, relative to their own talent and relative to their own expectations. I don't think they have their act fully together. So I'm going Georgia.
Monday, January 2nd, 4 games here to close this out. In the ReliaQuest Bowl, it's Mississippi State and it's Illinois. So,
yeah. Don't know if this game will happen.
Don't know what's going to happen.
It feels weird to talk about, for sure.
It feels extremely weird to talk about. I do not know the status of this game. If this game goes off, if Zach Arnett does lead this team
right,
against Illinois, we have to go Mississippi State. We have to go Mississippi State. We have to root for Mississippi State here, given all that they're going through, the extenuating circumstances.
Right.
It's a horrible spot for any coach, for any group of players to be in. And that extends to the Illinois side as well.
Of course.
But I'm just going to root for Mississippi State if this game happens.
Yeah, I imagine there will be some sort of internal vote and decision and conversation about playing in this game. Yeah, I'm just not going to pick it. It just feels, I'm rooting for Mississippi State moving forward, given
we will root for Mississippi
the
State.
Circumstances. But yeah, it feels odd, and who knows? Cheez-It
Citrus Bowl, the second of 2 Cheez-It sponsored games.
Yes.
LSU -11.5 against Purdue. For LSU, Kayshon Boutte coming back.
Hey.
And will play in this game. The status of Jaden Daniels is unclear after his ankle injury in the SEC game. So we might see Garrett Nussmeier. We'll find out. BJ Ojulari is entering the NFL draft.
Smart.
On the LSU
very,
side.
Very good.
Won't play.
Is he opting out? Not.
I believe opting out. Yeah. On the Purdue side, we obviously had a coaching change. Brian Brom is the interim. Brian Brom is the interim coach.
That's true.
There is another. I'm on LSU here.
I am
35 points.
I'm on LSU as well.
Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classic. We have USC. We have Tulane. I'm on USC, 34 confidence points.
I am on Tulane because
really?
I don't know if Caleb Williams is. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Wow.
I just don't trust Caleb Williams' hamstring.
Yeah.
And I am ready for if Caleb Williams does not play. This is just, I have no information. If Caleb Williams does not play and Miller Moss looks incredible versus an American defense, American Conference defense, I am ready for someone, me, to have the take. Because if you're a true takesman, a takes person, if you will, Ty.
Yeah, takesman. Sure.
It's so good to say, this player's great, but are they even the best player in the blank?
Is the backup better than the starter?
Yeah. Are they is Caleb Williams even the best player on his own team?
Wow.
The answer is yes.
Take.
The answer is yes. The answer is a resounding yes. But if Miller Moss is randomly 18 for 22 for 384 yards and 4 touchdowns against Tulane, I will I will put on my shoes one at a time. I will pull up my pants one leg at a time. And I will ask that question on the show the next time we air.
USC 34 points for me. Although I do like Michael Pratt a lot.
I like Tulane.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm going to go USC, but
okay.
There's a reason that USC is only favored by 1.5 in this game.
I agree. Hamstrings don't heal like ever, Ty. You should know that by now.
Final game, Rose Bowl. Save the best for last. Utah, 3-point favorite over Penn State. Parker Washington for Penn State. He was hurt. He opted for the NFL draft. Joey Porter also opting out for the NFL draft. On the Utah side, Tavian Thomas done for the year. Dalton Kincaid also done for the year, out injured. So I'm going to go Penn State here. Like, I'm biased, right? I have to do that. But Penn State, 5 confidence points to close this thing out.
I'm going Penn State as well. I'm going with the Penn State defense and Utah losing their clear best playmaker on offense. Although I don't have his name in front of me. They had a third string running back this year. I'll pull it up, or you can pull it up, who absolutely shined the back half of the year. And I think this might be a coming out party for him. The problem is the Penn State defense is very good. What was Jaquindon Jackson?
Jaquindon Jackson, yeah, I'm just looking at it.
Was very good in sort of spot duty for Utah. And I think he kind of shined in the USC game at the end of the year, the Pac-12 championship game. So that's something to watch in terms of the next steps for Utah's offense. But I'm going Penn State here.
Yeah, I like Penn State. I think just with Sean Clifford playing what should be his last game, barring any kind of
I
math
expect
error,
it to be. Yeah.
Math error on my part, I believe that he will play really well in his swan song, let's say, in the Rose Bowl.
Do you know? There's an extra nugget on that topic, Ty, and then we can leave the fine people. Oregon may have an 8th-year tight end next year because of a bunch of research, red shirts, and the COVID extra year of eligibility.
Does that mean he's 26?
Something like that. Wow. He was one of the 3 players Oregon had who unfortunately suffered from the rhabdo incident under Willie Taggart's strength and conditioning staff. His name is Cam McCormick. Had a key catch against Ohio State in that win last season. He was one of their top 2 or 3 tight ends, and they lost a tight end to the transfer portal this year. They might have. I think he has the option. I think it has been approved, an 8th year next year, which is 2 full generations. It's pretty great.
With that being said, that is our confidence pool breakdown. It was special.
It was
special. Sprinkled in a little Cage, a little John Malkovich, a little Billy Bedlam.
Yeah.
And obviously some points here on all things college football bowls. PlayWinterWonders.com is where you can go if you have yet to sign up. Tell your friends, tell your family, PlayWinterWonders.com. All are welcome. Just come on by, go to that URL. Give us your email. We'll send you the instructions on how to join the pool. It's free. It's easy. It's fun.
Yeah.
A lot of people out there run their own bowl pools, their own confidence pools. Just join ours. Join ours. All are welcome. Come on in. PlayWinterWonders.com. Last but certainly not least, SolidVerbalLive.com. Come on out and see us in LA.
I agree. It's going to be a great, great show. SolidVerbalLive.com, especially if you anticipate your team making it. Come out to LA.
Come on out, baby.
It's going to be the
best.
Come on
out. Dan, this has been a long show. We covered a lot of ground. We covered
yes.
subjects, heavy and light. We appreciate everybody's support here, not just on the show, but in hanging with us through this episode. It's always fun to talk about bowls. I wish we had better news at the top, but such is life. Hope everybody out there is doing well. We would encourage you, if you have not already, make sure you hit subscribe. Come on out, listen to all of our episodes. It's always a pleasure here to be with you, Dan, and to be with the Verballerhood as we talk through all things college football.
Do you know what I'm angry about, Ty? Because everything you said was completely true and correct and poignant. We didn't play our December to Remember song at all thus far this month.
The month is young, my friend.
The month is young. All right. That's all I have.
For that guy over there, my good friend Dan Rubenstein, for myself, Ty Hildebrand, thank you for bearing with us. Thanks for stopping on by. We will talk to you all very soon. In the meantime, stay solid.
Peace.